Awesome. Hey, everyone. So I have the lovely, powerful, and power agent down in Texas, Jessica Nelson, who many of you know is an elite builder, and she's also a good friend of mine. Jessica and I are going to talk a lot about our journeys into real estate, our experiences, deals that we have, things you guys can learn from. We can also learn from you through feedback. I'd say first and foremost, let's get into each of our journeys into real estate, because both of us have sold real estate at very high volume. Jess, I think we can go with you first. You talk about kind of your introduction into real estate, because honestly, I have no idea how you got into it, and because we crossed paths in New Jersey, and you're now in Texas. So
yeah, what's interesting is that everyone out there right now watching they probably know us already, right? Because we have been hanging around each other, guys, for how many years, Dan?
I'd probably say 1824, 8 years maybe.
That's what I was thinking.
8-9 years.
So I know Dan back from when I ran for the Board of Education in Hoboken. Do you remember that?
I do.
And,
I went
the
to your
reason
event.
why I remember the year is because someone else won an election that year.
Oh, was that the year? Wow, no way.
Yeah.
Donald Trump.
It was 2016, so I guess that is 8 years. 8 years, right?
16, 4, yeah, 8 years.
8 years, to be exact. So how did I get started? I posted about this today, and I think because now I'm 41 and people don't view me as what I was anymore, I could be vulnerable. And I shared with the world that I saw Aaron when did he come and talk to us at Liberty? It was like Pi Day, the Thanksgiving feast. I think that's...
He was there numerous times before I was formally introduced to him in 2017.
I just remember seeing him speak, and it was polarizing. Because half the room was like, this guy's a jerk. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Yes. And half the room was like in awe, writing down every word.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember. It says a lot, right? Because if you're really doing your job, you're going to piss off half the people because they don't like to recognize these things in themselves. Mm-hmm. And, the people who are really for you are going to be attracted to you. I happen to be one of those people because... I just felt like it was the first time someone told me the truth. Has anyone ever been a coach to you that was just your cheerleader? Oh, Dan, you're amazing. We love you.
Other than my mother, no.
Well,
I had a mentor.
That was my experience with everyone. They just told me how wonderful I was. They never said, hey, you're doing this wrong, you're doing that wrong, you can grow here. But Aaron is that person, right? Aaron kind of looks you in the eye and says, here are the things you need to do. And you can either accept it and grow and it hurts, or you kind of fall apart and call him an asshole. Yeah. And that's, that's just how it is. But yeah, I saw him and I was like, I know that this man's going to change my life. I knew it in my heart. So I talked to him and I told him the truth, because I think that in order to really have a real relationship with people, you have to be 100% honest and vulnerable. Otherwise, you're fake. It's not real. So I told him the truth. I was like, hey, I'm pushing 35. Yeah, things look great from the outside. I have my fancy things and I go to all these fancy places, but I'm really miserably depressed. I'm a sugar baby who's about to be an old broad. And I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. And he was like, okay, well, I know what you can do. And here's the prescription and the formula. But in order for us to actually do these things, you have to change who you are as a person. Is this the deep work you're really ready to do? And I kind of took some time to think about it, because the deep work was the stuff we don't want to do as humans, right? If we're an alcoholic, sure, the deep work is the trauma that you had as a kid that makes you drink to get rid of it, right? Yeah. All that deep work that you had to do. And Aaron got into it with me. And, now I'm just I don't think people really understand when I say that somebody saved my life. I don't know where I would be if I hadn't have actually made that choice that day to say, I need your help. Will you help me?
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't know that. I had no idea. That's interesting. Thanks for Thanks for. And what caused you? Here's a question for you, because again, I don't know the answer to it. Like, you were obviously turned off to him first. Like, no. What kind of opened your arms to him and said, "Hey, you know what? I think this guy actually might be onto something."
It was because I had that visceral reaction. Whenever you have a reaction like that, where you're like really angry or really sad, there's something to it. Pay attention to it.
Yeah.
And I knew that he was hitting that chord in all of us when he was saying things that were true. I think at the time he was talking about how iBuyers were going to, really hurt listing agents. Mm-hmm. Because at the time in Hoboken, it was kind of like, if you sat in the office long enough, somebody walked by, looked at the pictures on the outside, you went outside, you found out that they wanted to sell their condo to buy another one, you got a listing.
That's exactly how we worked in an office where it's on a main street, and people would walk that main street daily and just stop, look at the listings on the mirror the wall or the window, and then you see them looking. It's like a car salesman. You see someone looking at a car, and you go walking out and you start asking them questions, and next thing you know, you're selling a car.
That's exactly how it was. And I remember him telling us, like, hey, these easy days, they're about to be... It's funny because he wasn't even with EXP yet, guys. Like, I don't even know if EXP was a thing, really. I mean, I think it was around, but it wasn't popular. And he was already talking about how you need to move to, like, a cloud-based model. You need to take full responsibility of your business. And you could feel everyone in the room just, like, getting really upset hearing this.
I had some real... personal hardships going on at that time. I was living with my parents at the time. And then Aaron came into my life a couple years later. I was introduced to him through a very close mutual friend who I know you know as well. And then within 5 minutes, he said, I want to mentor you. I want to coach you. And I said, I want you to coach me. Wow. And at the time, he wasn't taking anybody.
I was going to say, he never talks like that to people. He's always talking them out of coaching with him.
At that time, there's an agent who's in our organization now that he was saying no to for months, and who was doing way more business than me. And I just thought that he took such an interest in me. And, that was in 2017, I think. And then we're all these years later, and I'm still with him. He's completely changed the trajectory of my life financially. It went that way.
So you mentioned the word financially. Are you comfortable getting vulnerable to talk about all the other things he's changed for you? Because I've seen you grow as a person.
Sure. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, so I had so at the leadership summit in the Dominican, I will be talking, because he's putting me on stage. So I will be talking about my life from start to finish. I'm not going to get into too much of it.
So you just said a lot. I mean, are you comfortable with elaborating?
On what?
You said that some things had happened to you when you were acting. For
a long time, I started in around 2001, 2002. I started to pursue an acting career. I just saw signs on the street in Tribeca. They were filming there, and I called the casting company, and they said, "Come in, send us your stuff." I put a headshot together with some sort of stuff that could be true, could not be true on the back of the headshot as to what I've done. And they started putting me into, extra roles. And then from that, they started putting me on camera, but not with lines. So if any actor who knows, if you can get on camera and have yourself featured, it can lead to different things.
Okay.
And my coach, I got linked up with a guy who was on The Wire, the show The Wire.
Yeah, I love that show.
Yeah. So his name's Doug. He was on it for a while, and his coach was this gentleman named Richard. So that was my coach. He was also coaching Michael Ealy at the time, who was, I think at that time, was dating Holly Berry. He would put us in front of casting directors, and we would do different skits and performances. And I got linked up with a really good agent, two of them actually. So from the 2000s all the way up, they were always trying to get me on The Sopranos at the time, and it just didn't hit. And then finally one day, my agent calls me, and she just couldn't be any happier. It was a Tuesday. I remember this like it was yesterday. It was a Tuesday, and she said, I got it. And I said, what'd you get? And she said, I got you an audition on a soap. And I was like, which one? She said, Guiding Light. And it was like, she's like, I think you're basically, they're going to hire you. They just want to see you. Like, it was, I think the scene was like, I was going to be a gardener. I was going to be in like a tank top. This was a natural progression after 8 years of just grinding and grinding and grinding. Friday morning comes the audition day. My audition was at 3:00. I wake up Friday morning and have you ever seen what a staph infection looks like? Okay, so athletes, like a lot of times they'll get staph infections on like their legs or their feet because of like, I don't know, something in the locker room, because there's a lot of germs and stuff. I've never had one in my life.
I've never had one either.
Yeah, well, until then. That's what the dermatologist told me anyway. So when I woke up from my whole face, not even like a part of it, the whole thing, it was like acne times 100. Like not even regular, just aggressive and covered, completely covered.
Oh my goodness. So God had other plans for you.
And I can't tell you how much I cursed God that day and days after.
So this is a crucial moment, right? Because two things can happen. And I'm sure everyone watching, you've had an experience like this in your life. So it could be one of two things, right? One, you're being tested to see how bad you want it. So you're going to get another opportunity. You have to keep grinding. Or two, this is not your destiny. This is just not where God wants you to be. So it's a redirection. And from there, you kind of have to figure out what your purpose is. So how did you find yours?
On a whim, my mother had said, listen, you should call Angelina because I don't know what else to do. And as a mother, you're a mother. Try having one of your kids come to you with something that is just utterly crushing them and you're powerless to it. Because I'm aware you probably, every time your kids come to you with a problem, what do you want to do?
What you're describing to me reminds me of what a lot of people who play a sport at a high level go through when they retire. I think they call it loss of sport, but if you talk to anyone who's ever, played college sports or played major league, whatever, when they are no longer playing, it's a deep depression that is, you really can't even compare it to many other things in life. It truly is a loss that you grieve. So it sounds like you were really grieving the loss of this career and probably more for you, a dream. It was the loss of your dream.
Yeah, it was years of work, years of work. It was, I don't know, I was into that probably 9 years.
So how did you get yourself out of the depression? Like, if someone's right now watching you and saying, I feel the same way, Dan, what do they need to do to start to change their lives?
Well, I mean, I can speak to my experience, and I mean, I was very, very blessed. My mother she suggested a family friend who I knew was, I knew she was gifted, but I didn't know how, and I didn't really spend any time. I didn't really know her. She was my mom's friend from, years back, and she lived in another state. She lived in Pennsylvania, and I was in Jersey. But she said, you should try her. I don't know what else to tell you. I don't know.
Is she like
I don't have any answers.
Therapist, I'm assuming? A healer?
No, she's not a healer. She's not even a therapist. She's just as a woman who, she just had gifts metaphysically on how to, for me, her gift was the ability to break down dreams. So I was dreaming a lot. And the reason I was dreaming a lot is because my mind and my head were so filled with like chatter all day. My creator couldn't connect with me, but I knew it was out there, but it was not able to connect. So
is that when you got into yoga? I know you're like an amazing yogi.
Yeah, that's probably when it started. A little later than that.
Okay, so for everyone who's trying to figure out how did Dan heal himself, he got someone he trusted who could effectively guide him. So maybe for you it's a healer, maybe it's a therapist, maybe it's a family friend. Dan was fortunate enough to have a family friend.
Yeah, she acted as...
It sounds like the movement really helped you release a lot of the pain.
So that was mine, and I had to break that down. So over 12 years, this woman... I mean, I'm going to bring... There's a bin of letters this tall, 3 rows deep, of letters we would write each other about what's going on with me, how I'm feeling. Here's a dream. Break it down. And it would always, always, always be exactly what is going on inside of me from my creator. But he just couldn't talk to me. The only time he can talk to me is when my mind was quiet. When's my mind quiet? When I'm sleeping. So that was a journey of 12 years all the way through. And then as she got older, she developed dementia and things like that. And I still go out and see her. I drive out to Pennsylvania, take her out to dinner. She's in an assisted living facility out there. If someone's out there going through that, yeah, that's a great... So what I would say is this first, is recognize first what's the origin of your discomfort or your pain, your fear. And then find somebody in your life that's credible, believable, and that you trust. Mm-hmm. And if it's a therapist, it could be a therapist. If it's a friend, have it be a friend. Whoever it is, start to talk to them. Because there are dark nights of the soul that I have had 2 times. And if you're familiar with what they are, they're not very fun. Listen, that's both of our journeys. And now you're down in, well, here's what I'd say. Now you're down in Texas and you're leading a, 40-something agent team down there. Yeah,
we just had 3 people on board. We're 45.
Nice. Yeah. So, I mean, you guys are still killing it. Yeah, we did. So we had a call today with the brokerage that is coming on. And I think there's going to be probably 20 to 25 of them coming. So yeah, it'll they're slowly but surely coming. So, but they're not here yet.
It's fun to watch our organization grow.
Yeah, I mean, we are growing exponentially.
Yeah.
So
I love having teammates like you, like Mark Ramsey, Ben Esposito. It's just so nice to be around like-minded people that I know I could call each one of you guys and you would actually help me. It's really a blessing.
Listen, one of your agents is, well, she's under Ben, who's under you, I believe. She's reaching out to me about a woman that she wants to like pitch to onboard, and I'm like walking her through it. Maya.
Yeah, Maya Gagne.
Maya, yeah.
We call her the Queen of the North because she looks just like Sansa.
Felt it.
Yeah, see, that's so nice, right, guys? Like, oftentimes people think EXP is like a silo, like the only people who are going to help you are people in your direct downline or your direct upline. Like, Dan makes $0 off of me or what my downline does. I don't even like using that word. My organization.
Yeah, your organization, right.
Yeah, so, and yet he's still willing to help. And same thing, by the way, like Keelan and Omar.
Keelan and Omar, yep.
I mean, I see those guys and I pump them up every day because those guys, they're brand new and probably no one's going to see them coming. They're going to be the #1 listing agents in their market with all the things that they're doing right now. They have the formula and they're doing it. But it's a beautiful thing, guys. It's really unique. If you're not super familiar, it just doesn't happen. For someone who is in New Jersey that makes $0 off of me to want to be my true teammate and actually help me, I don't know anywhere else you're going to find that. And vice versa. Yeah.
I mean, I just had a call with, so I do my team call Tuesdays at noon, and, Keelan's on it, Joe's on it, and Omar had a closing. So, but Keelan is going to start a Zoom prospecting room for all of those guys,
Let's go.
for our team. And I was like, you know, like Jessica she like founded that. So if you have questions, like reach out to her on how she promotes it, how she uses it for agents that are new to come into the group, and all that good stuff. So they may reach out to you.
I'd be more than happy. I mean, they're more than welcome to come on ours so that they can see what it's like anytime.
Yeah. Well, I told Joe, and the other Joe, who is going to come on too. I think that you'd be a good influence to him to get himself reacclimated with making phone calls.
Oh, 100%. He's a killer.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember listening to him and being like, I want to be like him one day.
You and me both. I was quite envious of him because I knew what kind of volume he was doing, and I was just like, man, my ego was so in the forefront. I was like, man, I'm just as good as him. How's he doing so much more than me? Like, that's what I used to say to myself.
You know what's so funny how we are before we realize what's wrong with us?
Yeah.
I used to think that deals were going to come to me because I was pretty. That's not how the real world works.
It's not how it works? No, it doesn't. Doesn't work out that way?
I mean, you might get lucky once or twice, but the majority of people buying a home have some sort of partner, and they're not going to really appreciate that behavior. Yeah,
no, it's true. That's funny. I mean, there was a part of me that, we both had a similar broker before, and she said to me once, years and years ago, because I got cards, and my cards didn't have my picture on it, and she was like, "What are you doing?" I said, "I don't understand. What do you mean?" I said, "I got business cards," and she said, "You put your face on those cards."
I know exactly what you're talking about. She said the same thing to me.
Yep.
Yeah.
She said, "You use that to your advantage. If it could work for you once, then it pays for itself in spades."
That's true.
I said, "Okay."
Our commissions in Hoboken were like minimum $18,000. They were so much money.
It is. I mean, I was telling those guys because I look out the window and I can see the Freedom Tower, and Keelan and those guys. They're up in Massachusetts, and I said, "Guys, my average sale price out here is like $800,000. That's your average. You have listings. I've had listings a lot more, and I've had listings less, but nothing. Unless I go into like the outskirts, you're talking $200,000-300,000. But my normal sale here is, I don't know, 6-7. That's your average.
Yeah.
And thankfully last year, because of what was going on with my dad, all of my owners basically called me that had $1 million or higher properties. I only closed, I don't know, 10 of them, but it was like
10 million the average right there.
It's it. I did like, I don't know, 9 million, 9.5 million with on market and off market.
You know what is considered luxury in Dallas? What price point?
Luxury? I mean, I'm hoping it's like $900,000.
$750,000.
Oh my God. That's luxury? That's crazy.
You know what? I can't complain because the biggest difference is when I was up there, I think now you bring it up, because, we always did our business plans. My average price point was like $728,000, but every deal I was fighting 10 agents while we were going up for the listing. Mm-hmm. When you have the listing, you're fighting another 4 who are trying to steal it from you.
Mm-hmm. Even when it's listed.
And then you're going to fight the buyer and the buyer's agent that are somehow trying to cut you out to get a better deal.
Yep.
And it's so much easier here. I cannot stress that to people, how lucky you have it if you are not already in a cutthroat market. And a cutthroat market is New York, New Jersey, probably parts of Florida, and a lot of California. So if you're not in one of those markets, there is no excuse for you not to be prospecting. You have it so easy. All you have to do is ask. For people like Dan's probably, what the hell is she talking about? Because when we were in New Jersey, it was like we were master prospectors, amazing, and we would still lose a lot because there's so many of us.
Talented here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of it. I mean, it's
everybody's coached.
Yeah.
And some people have like 2 coaches. The majority of agents here don't even know what a coach is. It's just
Wow.
a night and day difference. Like, and what I'm saying this to say is that if you're in one of these markets like Texas or, you know, another market that's not already overly saturated with skilled agents, there's a huge opportunity for you to take market share. All you have to do is work on your skills and make the phone calls or the door knocks or however you're prospecting. Some people do it by networking. You can do it by networking. But if you take the time to learn the skills and do the activities, you are going to be a dominant agent. You don't have a lot of competition.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I go up, you know, when I've started to do less as far as production, as far as prospecting. I'll do some, and when I do pick up the phone, generally I'll grab an appointment, maybe two if it's a good day. But I really am wanting to foray out of production and more into the attraction model.
Yeah,
and so because of that, you know, I am going on appointments, and of course, you're going up against, you know, power agents that, you know, you know all the names, and I've beaten them. I tell these to my agents all the time. I'm like, guys, I lose to them, and I beat them.
yeah.
It just, you know, it's just kind of how are you relating to the seller? You know, I'm not going to win everyone, and I'm not going to lose everyone, and so at the end of the day, it's and I've taken listings from guys that are in our organization. I've beat them and I've lost to them. You know, I was taught long ago to, when you work with a seller and you perform for them, you make them raving fans of yours. Mm-hmm. And almost all of my sellers are raving fans of mine. So when you know, I call them to just check up and see, hey, I was in your area the other day. I thought about you, wanted to just check in and see how things are going. How's the house treating you? How's the neighborhood? The kids love the school, whatever the case is. They will always, like, almost with 100% certainty tell me, oh, I had this agent call me, tell me I should sell. And, you know, I tell them, no, like, you're going to be my agent till the day that I die.
I love that.
You got to, I can't tell you how satisfying that is.
So many agents think, oh, I did the deal. That's my person. Did you stay in touch with them?
Yep.
Did you do anything of value for them, or did you just sell out home and move on? Mm-hmm. So that right there is exactly why we need to stay in touch with people, because someone else is going to get our person if we don't stay in touch with them.
Yeah. If they're not listed, you should be touching them at least, that's minimum once a quarter. But I would probably tell you that you should be touching them once a month with just giving them market reports with what's going on daily. There we go. They're getting hit by other agents, guys. They are.
Yeah.
So just know that other people are going to be prospecting them. So whatever you need to do to keep touching them, whether it's an email, a phone call, you know, something you send to them in the mail, a letter, whatever, constantly be following up and touching your people in your database. There.
So actually, my daughter Haley, this is her job. She calls our clients and she thanks them for choosing Nelson Global, because her name is Haley Nelson. Mm-hmm. And then she asks if there's any like resources we can provide. So when we had the free, she offered handyman, mold, like all the people you would need. I had her create the list, and she asked them for their email. She sent it to them. Now that it's spring, like we have little seed packets that we're sending people as gifts. She asked them to confirm, is this still your address? And I love that for Haley, because now she earns the money that she's always begging me to buy her this thing or that thing. And also my clients are probably two things. One, realizing that this is a family business, right? Like their money matters to this little girl. And then also I think that it makes me more of a real person and less of a salesperson to them, because I am a single mom. I hate using that term, by the way. I'm a one income household.
Okay. That's awesome. So you have somebody doing that for you, which is good. And
I do sometimes talk to them, and I do have them on like campaigns and Follow Up Boss. But I think the most effective is Haley.
Okay. What's the timing on that? Do you do it every month, every quarter? What do you?
So I have these. Did you know? It's a campaign for anyone that has Follow Boss. It says, "Did you know?" And it's a monthly newsletter, and it has like all these tips, like how to get red wine out of furniture, how to all these different things.
Which is important for women.
I mean, there's just like a bunch of little cute tips. I mean, some people unsubscribe, and some people will email me and be like, "This was amazing, thank you," as if like I wrote it.
Yeah, listen, that's a great and for you for everybody out there, you may not have a daughter Haley that can do it, but you can hire assistants, you can hire transaction coordinators very inexpensively through Upwork to do these kinds of
kid, and they'll be more than happy to do it. Or like, there's so many inexpensive ways that you could do it. I don't know if I would have like a VA or a TC do it just because, I mean, you can, right? Like, definitely you can. But I would just be careful that the person's actually doing the job and really appreciative of it versus like, oh God, I have to do this. Because your clients will be able to feel that in the conversation.
Right. Right. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
And sometimes my TCs have gotten to be like, I don't know. You know, this generation, they don't like talking to people. They don't mind to email and text. But for some reason, picking up the phone, there's like a huge block.
Sometimes I have to tell my TM that, look, I need you. I know you want to email, and I know you want to. I said, I need you to pick up the phone if you can call them and actually call them and get what I need done. Email is not going to do it, and a text is not going to do it.
Yeah. It
needs an actual human touch. So yeah, I've had that conversation before.
It's hard. It's really hard. A lot of people are just terrified of it.
Yes, it's a different. My generation is we pick up the phone. You want to get something done, you just pick up the phone and do it yourself. That's it.
I feel like the boys want to be a part of our conversation. Boys, did you want to say hello?
I know.
You're interrupting me.
I love it.
You know what we should do is open this up to like an IG live and answer people's questions. Maybe next time.
Why not? We can totally do that. I mean, I was figuring to just run this here because it's good quality content that can be cut up. So, and I'm sure they'll cut this up too. So it's up to. I mean, this is the guinea pig of this. So,
I love it. I mean, people watched our podcast. I think that it got you like some agents, and I've definitely helped me get more exposure too.
We can see what kind of comes of this, and I'll talk to Valeria and things like that, and we'll go. We'll see what's best.
More than happy.
Totally up to you. Cool. All right. I think in this session we can call it a day, and if there's content that you guys are looking for as far as something that we can go over, something that we can share with you from our experience that will help you raise your level, get to a higher level. You have a blockage, something that you're doing well that you want to enhance, something that you're struggling with that you want to get over as far as a hurdle. But let us know. Reach out to us. We're more than happy to help, and we can talk about it and get you past that. All right? So, signing off here. Jess, you're the best. Appreciate you. Until next time. This is what was the biggest change for me. It's that statement right there. Transaction treadmill. You're basically as good as your last transaction. Because I don't want to be 55 years old, 60 years old, making phone calls and selling property. I don't want to do that.